Hello, and thanks for joining me. My name is Olivia Howard, and today I'm going to tell you about my research proposal, Setting the Stage for a Sustainable Embedded Librarianship Program. Embedded librarianship evolved from the idea of putting library resources where students need them. The term was first coined by Barbara Dewey in 2004 and was inspired by embedded journalists in the Iraq War. There are different levels of embeddedness, but perhaps the most well-known model is that of the fully embedded librarian. This librarian may attend classes with students, participate in discussions in class or on online discussion boards. They may hold office hours or attend departmental meetings. However, some embedded librarians are involved exclusively in online classes, and others are involved in research departments. Academic libraries have been adapting the embedded librarian model to suit their institution's individual needs. The literature indicates that embedded librarian programs can be an effective way to incorporate library instruction and information literacy skills into the course curriculum. Some of the most significant benefits are an improvement in student work, increased information literacy, and increased use of library resources. Courses in many different disciplines can benefit from embedded resources. Science, engineering, business, music, criminal justice, and sociology are just a few examples of classes that benefit from library instruction and research skills. Embedded librarianship can also provide the opportunity for specialized instruction for departments, such as using business databases for a business class. Embedded librarian programs benefit not only undergraduates, but also graduate students and faculty. Embedded librarian programs can also increase the visibility of the library. In fact, following embedded programs, students are more likely to contact a librarian with help for other classes or in following semesters. The recent Framework for Information Literacy for Higher Education reflects the rapidly changing higher education environment and puts greater responsibility on faculty, librarians, and students. This is a change from the previous standards or learning outcomes and envisions information literacy as extending the arc of learning throughout students' academic careers and as converging with other academic and social learning goals. Librarians have been offering information literacy instruction for many years, either as one-shot sessions, credit courses, or on the library's website. Campus conditions have changed, sometimes drastically, as more and more courses are being offered online and many students never set foot in the library. Yet students still need access to and instruction in the use of library resources. Librarians can help. Academic librarians are already teaching information literacy classes and have the skills and resources to provide this kind of support. The purpose of this study is to identify organizational elements that contribute to the long-term success of embedded librarian programs, particularly those focused on information literacy instruction. Research has shown that some libraries have created very successful long-term embedded librarian programs. This study will identify characteristics that contribute to their success and look for relationships between these characteristics and other factors. This information would be useful for libraries considering embedded librarian programs and those looking to update or expand their information literacy instruction. The information can also help demonstrate the value of libraries and librarians in an ever-changing information environment. The research question for this study is, what organizational factors are associated with long-term sustainability of embedded librarian programs focused on information literacy? Sub-questions are, what makes embedded librarian programs sustainable? What barriers make it difficult to sustain or expand embedded librarian programs? The literature review identifies relevant themes that have appeared in the literature on embedded librarianship. Several studies reveal ways that libraries have adapted the embedded librarian model to best fit their individual environments. They show how libraries have modified embedded librarian programs over time to make them sustainable and scalable. Significant adaptations that may contribute to sustainability include offering different levels of embeddedness and involvement, using existing systems and resources, adjusting schedules and pooling resources, and continuously assessing and marketing programs. The population that will be sampled are academic librarians in the United States and Canada that have participated in embedded librarian programs. Participants would be identified by starting with those who have published about their programs. The survey would also be submitted to a few electronic mailing lists in order to reach librarians that may have participated in embedded librarian programs but have not published about them. Snowball sampling would be used to reach additional participants. A descriptive survey will be used to answer the main research question and sub-questions. A sample of the questionnaire is included at the end of these slides. The survey is designed to elicit data about the support of embedded librarian programs, what resources are used, how librarians are collaborating with faculty, communication methods, and librarians' perceptions about the program and its benefits for students and libraries. Questions would be oriented toward understanding the current factors that contribute to the sustainability of embedded librarian programs, as well as to capture demographic information that may be used to interpret and generalize the results. There will be a few multiple-choice questions, along with short answer or longer response questions. Participants will be given the option to add comments or longer responses to some questions. This survey will collect some quantitative data, though most will be qualitative. Quantitative data such as demographic information will be analyzed using frequency counts and percentage calculations. Qualitative responses will be coded, a codebook will be generated, and data will be tabulated. Since mostly qualitative information will be collected, this may make it more difficult to categorize answers during the coding process. Steps will be taken to make sure answers are coded as accurately and as consistently as possible. Multivariate analysis will be used to identify patterns and trends in the data. Possible associational relationships will then be identified and tested. There are ethical considerations to keep in mind during the course of this study, as in any study, particularly since human subjects will be involved. Participation in the study is voluntary, and there will be an informed consent form on the first page of the survey. Participants will not be required to answer any questions and will be able to opt out of the survey at any time. Though there is no anticipated harm to participants, there could be issues with confidentiality. Identifying information will be gathered about institutions and librarians involved in embedded librarian programs. Steps will be taken to anonymize data, and confidential data will be destroyed at the completion of the study to further protect participants. There are some limitations to this study which could potentially affect the outcome. One disadvantage of surveys is a low response rate. This study will target libraries that have been involved in embedded librarian programs. They may be more likely to respond since they have a higher interest in the subject and will likely be interested in how other institutions have applied the embedded librarianship model. Participants will be offered a free summary report as an incentive to participate. An additional issue that may be encountered is that the overwhelming majority of studies on embedded librarianship are about successful programs. There are undoubtedly negative experiences that could provide information about what did not work and why, but they might be difficult to locate. The study will use purposive, random, and snowball sampling in order to reach as many participants as possible. The information gathered by this study could be used by academic libraries to determine if an embedded librarian program is right for their institution. It could also be used by libraries with existing embedded librarian programs to enhance or expand their programs. There are numerous studies in the literature on individual embedded librarian programs, but few that examine several at once. There's not a broad overview of what makes embedded librarian programs successful. There's valuable information to be had on embedded librarian programs that is recent. The proposed study would fill a gap in the literature and encompass a much larger number of libraries than previous studies in order to get a broader picture of current programs. The study may also point to areas of further research. For example, there's little information about how librarians are trained for embedded librarian roles, or what other preparations are made for embedded librarian programs. The academic information landscape has changed drastically over the last few decades and continues to change. Students still need scholarly articles and other library resources, but no longer sort through paper indexes and volumes. They're using their smartphones, tablets, and laptops to access their courses and library resources, and librarians need to be ready to accommodate them. Information literacy instruction continues to be an important function of academic librarians, but the one-shot class is no longer the best or only option. The literature has shown that embedded librarianship can benefit students, librarians, and faculty. Nevertheless, implementing a program is a huge undertaking, and libraries will benefit by being prepared. The information gathered by this study could be used by libraries to design customized embedded librarian programs for their institutions. Librarians will always need to find new ways to introduce students to library resources and instruction. As more and more students access their classes via computers and mobile devices, embedded librarianship continues to be an avenue worth pursuing as an effective way to put library resources and instruction where students need it when they need it. Thanks for watching.